Good morning, my dear friends. We begin today with a reading from God's Word, found in Luke's Gospel, chapter 9, verses 18 through 27. Once when Jesus was praying in private, and his disciples were with him, he asked them, "Who do the crowds say I am?" They replied, "Some say John the Baptist, others say Elijah, and still others that one of the prophets of long ago has come back to life." "But what about you?" he asked. "Who do you say I am?" Peter answered, "God's Messiah." Jesus strictly warned them not to tell this to anyone, and he said, "The Son of Man must suffer many things and be rejected by the elders, the chief priests, and the teachers of the law, and he must be killed, and on the third day be raised to life." Then he said to them all, "Whoever wants to be my disciple must deny themselves and take up their cross daily and follow me. For whoever wants to save their life will lose it, but whoever loses their life for me will save it. What good is it for someone to gain the whole world and yet lose or forfeit their very self? Whoever is ashamed of me and my words, the Son of Man will be ashamed of them when he comes in his glory and in the glory of the Father and of the holy angels." The word of the Lord. Well, like many of you, I have watched some of the Tokyo Olympics, or at least caught highlights of some of the games. I've always been fascinated by these elite athletes from around the world. I really enjoy hearing their backstories and discovering who they are as persons, as human beings. It never fails to astonish me the magnitude of the sacrifices they have made to reach the world-class level of competition. What does it cost to become an Olympic athlete? I mean, the talent is God-given, it's free, but the development and the honing of their natural abilities to reach their full potential requires an immense investment. Time and energy, money, self-denial, practice, single-minded focus, sweat, tears, and hours of rehabbing injuries. Everything costs more these days. It costs an extravagant amount to be an Olympic athlete. But I ask you, what does it cost to follow Jesus in our place and time? What does it cost to be a disciple? The salvation is free. It's grace. We receive it by faith. We don't achieve it by our works. And yet, the life Jesus calls us to, there's a cost to that. Jesus doesn't sugarcoat or minimize this. He doesn't gloss over it. He spells it out clearly. In Luke 9:23, he says, "Whoever wants to be my disciple must deny themselves, take up their cross daily, and follow me." I can't think of three more misunderstood and misapplied phrases in the entire Bible. Deny yourself, take up your cross daily, and follow me. What does he mean? Deny yourself. Well, deny simply means to say no. And denying yourself may mean saying no to certain things. It may mean saying no to Krispy Kreme donuts. But that's not what Jesus is getting at here. Denying yourself does not mean denying your self-worth or your feelings. Some Christians say that if you're enjoying following Jesus, then something is wrong. I think of that scene from the film Monty Python and the Holy Grail, of the monks walking around with boards slapping their foreheads like this. And that's not what Jesus is saying. Denying yourself does not mean saying no to enjoying the good things of life. Denying yourself does not mean saying no to your brains or to your talents and gifts, anything that God has graced you with. Writer and discipleship trainer Darrell Johnson spells out what to deny yourself does mean. He says to deny yourself means to say no to your self-lordship. It means saying no to the God who is me, to reject the demands of the God who is me, and to refuse to obey the claims of the God who is me. It means to say no to my agenda so I can say yes to His. Jesus calls us to say no to ourselves so we can say yes to Him. And so it's a little no, but a big yes. What denying yourself looks like really depends on the relationship. To a mother or father, it means not just seeking your own desires, but serving our child's best interests with our time and our attention and our energy. Husbands, you want your wife to pass out? Ask, honey, how can I help you today? Children, teens, you want to do that with your parents? Make sure they have a soft place to land because they're going to faint. To a neighbor or a coworker, it may mean looking for ways to serve them and to show concern for their lives. But most importantly, to God, it means seeking His will, spending time with Him so He can lead and guide me on the way I should go. Deny yourself. Then there's the phrase, take up your cross daily. Well, lots of believers think that this means just enduring an illness or a disability, a negative experience or a difficult relationship. They'll say, this is my cross to bear in life. Now certainly the God of all comfort is compassionate toward us and all the struggles and the pains that we endure as human beings. But Jesus is talking about something more here. He's talking about something more than the aches and heartaches every human being experiences. Imagine how offensive Jesus' statement must have sounded to the crowd and to the disciples. You see, cross-bearing was an all too common, powerful image in that time and place. Every one of them had seen a criminal carrying a crossbeam upon which he was to be publicly executed. It was the epitome, the picture of complete rejection and hopelessness. And so Jesus is calling his followers to think of themselves, think of ourselves as really already dead, to bury all our earthly hopes and dreams, to kill the plans and agendas we've made for ourselves. He wants us to trust him to either resurrect our dreams or to replace them with his dreams and his plans. C.S. Lewis in Mere Christianity writes, Christ says, "Give me all. I don't want so much of your time and so much of your money and so much of your work. I want you. I have not come to torment your natural self, but to kill it. No half measures are any good. I don't want to cut off a branch here and a branch there. I want to have the whole tree down. I don't want to drill the tooth or to crown it or stop it, but to have it out. Hand over the whole natural self, all the desires which you think are innocent, as well as the ones you think are wicked. The whole outfit. I will give you a new self instead. In fact, I will give you myself. My own will shall be yours." Well, deny yourself can sound bad enough. Take up your cross daily. Wow, got any honey to swallow with that? Yes, it's a hard saying, but it's also the key to freedom. How? Darrell Johnson again. He says, oppression in all its forms, human bondage in all its shapes, is the result of being our own gods. Freedom, then, only comes when we lay down the wrongly obtained false crown, when we say no, and when we live as though the gods who are us have already died. Dan Allender and Tremper Longman, in their book, Breaking the Idols of Your Heart, say this: Jesus relentlessly undermines all that is not God to make room for the God who has redeemed our hearts. Deny yourself. Take up your cross daily. And one more thing. Follow me. Jesus says, follow me. What's he saying? He's saying, adjust yourself to me. Adjust your life to me, your schedule and your priorities to me. Adjust yourself emotionally, spiritually, psychologically, relationally, and yes, physically to me. Align your whole self to my understanding of reality. Jesus doesn't promise, you see, fulfillment of our dreams or our vision of life or our understanding of our identity. He does promise rest for our souls. He does not promise to remove pain or trouble, but he does promise to be our peace, to overcome this world of trouble. He does promise a love whose dimensions will need all of eternity to survey. The only condition, his terms, are that we embrace his dreams and his vision for human life. Follow me. He says in verse 24, for whoever wants to save their life will lose it, but whoever loses their life for me will save it. Jim Elliot summarized it best, I guess. He said, he is no fool who gives what he cannot keep to gain that which he cannot lose. Jim and his missionary partners would lose their lives at the hands of people they wanted desperately to introduce to the Lord of life. And they're both inspiring and terrifying examples of the worst that can happen when we seek to deny self, to bear our cross daily, and to follow Jesus in a world that follows other gods, especially the god of self. Jesus' first disciples, and many Christians since then, have known or know now the high cost of following Jesus. It can mean real suffering, real loss, even real crosses. Most of us, though, perhaps some of you listening elsewhere, but I'd say most of us who are watching this have grown up here in America in a time when the majority of people at least respected Christianity if they didn't accept it or worship the God of the Bible. We have never really experienced persecution, severe pressure for following Jesus here. But you've seen changes in your lifetime. Not too many years ago, more and more people began to see Christianity not as something to be respected, but as something to be tolerated. I mean, Christians are kind of weird, but they're good, moral citizens, so we'll put up with them. Now, we're seeing more and more an attitude of hostility, sometimes even violence toward Christians and Christian beliefs is on the rise. If you follow Jesus openly today, it's more and more likely that you'll be shouted down or out on college or even high school campuses. You will face lawsuits, be canceled on social media, be overlooked for promotions, or even lose a job. Have your neighborhood shun and shame you, and have friends who suddenly become enemies. Right now, it is illegal in Canada for pastors to teach and preach the biblical view of marriage and sexuality. They can be arrested or even face the paying of huge fines. Now, we're not there yet in America. But if current trends of hostility against freedom of speech and religious liberty continue, that may become real here. Soon, we'll be unable to avoid making it known where our true allegiance lies. I just pray that God will give us the courage and the strength to not be ashamed. For Jesus says in verse 26, "Whoever is ashamed of me and my words, the Son of Man will be ashamed of them when he comes in his glory and in the glory of the Father and of the holy angels." So what can we do? I just urge us to do three things. Keep loving God, each other, and all our neighbors well, despite how we're treated, the great commandment. Keep following Jesus and helping others find and follow Him, making disciples who make disciples. Stay on mission, the Great Commission. And one other thing, be prepared to suffer. Dietrich Bonhoeffer knew what that was like, and he said this: Christ kept Himself from suffering until His hour had come. But when it did come, He met it as a free man, seized it, and mastered it. We are not Christ, but if we want to be Christians, we must have some share in Christ's large-heartedness by acting with responsibility and in freedom when the hour of danger comes. What is the cost of discipleship? Nothing compared to what it cost God to come to us. You see, the good news is that Christ laid down His crown and took up a cross. The Lord of the universe died a criminal's death so that criminals like you and me who believe could be free. So that we could be adopted as royalty, as children of the King, so that He can live His life and show and share His love in and through us as we deny ourselves, take up our cross daily, and follow Him.
mercy gathered, mended and whole, empty-handed but not forsaken. I've been set free, I've been set free.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I am found, was blind, but now I see. Oh, I can see it now. I can see the love in your eyes, laying yourself down, raising up the broken to life. You take our failure, you take our weakness, you set your treasure in jars of clay. So take this heart, Lord, I'll be your vessel, the world to see your life in me. Oh, amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. Oh, I once was lost, but now I am found, was blind, but now I see. Oh, I can see it now. I can see the love in your eyes, laying yourself down, raising up the broken to life.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I am found, was blind, but now I see.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. Oh, I once was lost, but now I am found, was blind, but now I see. Oh, I can see it now. I can see the love in your eyes, laying yourself down, raising up